Well, guys, there are a lot of new comics coming out this week. But it's time to take a look at the full list so I can tell you what I'm getting. What's up, guys? BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, and I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. This channel is about comic books. I do haul videos, unboxing videos, reviews, everything in between. So if you're interested in that type of content, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon. That way you're notified when new videos go live. This is the latest episode in a series I like to call What I'm Getting, where I go through all the books coming out in this week, and I tell you which ones I'm buying, what's on the maybe list, what's on the chopping block, and just overall, like what I'm buying and how I'm staying under budget. This week, there are a lot of books coming out. I am not going to hit my budget target, but that's okay, because if you remember from the previous 2 weeks, we've been below budget for a little bit. So let's go ahead and talk about what I'm getting. Before I do, got to give a shout out to our channel sponsor, Ultimate Comics. Now, you guys know I've been shopping at Ultimate Comics Raleigh going on 3 years now. They are my LCS, the best shop in the Raleigh-Durham area. They've got 4 locations: Raleigh, Durham, Cary, and a second Raleigh location at the Crabtree Valley Mall. And you got to stop in to one of those stores this week to get their exclusive cover for Silver Surfer Rebirth #1. That's right, Silver Surfer's back, and this cover by Alex Maleev is awesome. So you can go into any of their stores and grab the Virgin set with the trade dress and Virgin, or just the trade dress cover for $19.99 and $49.99 respectively. Or if you don't have, if you're not local to the Raleigh area, then you can visit ultimatecomics.com and you can order that set online. Super dope. So tell them I sent you, and thanks to Ultimate Comics for sponsoring what I'm getting. Now, let's get into this list. Like I said, I like to start with the book that I'm most excited for. This week, there were a few titles that were vying for the most excited for trophy, but only one could come home with the winner. So I'm most excited for the 10 Lives of Wolverine #1. This is written by Benjamin Percy. And, this is our House of X Powers of 10 style setup event for the next era of X-Men. Now, I'm a 90s X-Men fan, meaning I became a fan of X-Men through the 90s cartoon, and nothing says X-Men through the 90s and 2000s like Wolverine. So I'm very excited for a Wolverine-centric series. I love Wolverine's whole attitude toward Krakoa. If you're reading like Hoxpox and the Wolverine ongoing, all been great so far. So we're going to get some insight into Wolverine's past and his future, and thus the future of Krakoa. Very excited about this. There are a lot of covers. I love this cover A that's on the screen right now, but I also love connecting covers. Just like Hoxpox, we're getting a set of connecting covers, a different artist for each set. This portion of the connecting cover for 10 Lives of Wolverine is by Tyler Kirkham. So I'm getting that, but I'm going to get that cover A as well because it's just super dope. And that's got a cover price of $5.99. And that's what I'm getting. Now, let's talk about Marvel Comics since we're on the Marvel bandwagon right now. First up is The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 86. I didn't read last week's book yet, so I need to check out issue 85 to see how it went. But it was basically Ben Reilly versus Doc Ock. Hopefully it was exciting. This series has been up and down. They were building towards something that I was hoping would be epic, and they are going to relaunch Amazing Spider-Man at issue number 1 in April, but we got to get through this Beyond storyline first. We'll see how it goes. ASM 86 has a cover price of $3.99. I'm just getting cover A. And next up from Marvel Comics is Hulk. Hulk #3. Hulk has been like a ridiculous series by Donny Cates with art by Ryan Otley. It's been pretty cool. Like, basically Bruce Banner is piloting the Hulk like a starship. And then last issue, he was just throwing all sorts of ridiculous things at Hulk, including a giant sized Wolverine. And so we're going to see a little bit more Wolverine action in this issue of Hulk #3. So I'm excited about it. It's a ridiculous fun comic book. Not a whole lot of substance to the story so far, but I'm hoping there's an emotional crux that we get to soon. That's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm getting the cover A. Next up from Marvel Comics is Miles Morales, Spider-Man issue number 34. So Miles Morales right now is tying into the Beyond storyline. And basically all the books in the Spider-Man office are pretty important to everything that's going on so far. But last issue, we had Miles and Shift break into a Beyond facility, and crack some heads and stuff. Now we're going to see, the consequences of that or the next step in that whole, heist type thing we got going on there. So excited to see how issue 34 goes. It's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm getting cover A. Now the next book, I need to make a confession. So this book on my list is, there's no way to put this. It's Strange Academy. Strange Academy issue 15 is on my list this week. Strange Academy is a book that you have not heard me mention in several issues because I was supposed to drop it and I forgot to drop it. And I kept forgetting to drop it. And I looked on my Comic Hub and there it is, still on my pull list. But I'm not going to drop it. I've decided not to drop it. Am I in the frame? Yo, not having an afro makes me feel like I'm not filling up the frame like I used to. And it's true, I don't. But anyway, back to Strange Academy. So with Strange Academy, I decided to keep the series on my pull list because they're not doing standard size trade paperbacks for it. They've been doing these digest size trades. And if I'm going to move to collected editions, I'm not moving to a small collected edition. Give me something oversized or at least standard size. So I'm going to keep buying this in single issues, unless I read it and I hate it. Hopefully I don't hate it. I love Scotty Young and I like Humberto Ramos. So I shouldn't hate it, but I could. We'll see. It's on the pull list for now. Just had to be honest because I just realized it's still on my pull list. So that's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm getting cover A. And the last book on my Marvel pull list this week is Venom, issue number 4. Now, Venom has turned into this whole conspiracy book, almost like an enemy of the state type book. There's a bunch of people after Dylan Brock, because of the symbiote. The symbiote reminds Dylan of his father, so he doesn't want to part with the symbiote, but he also doesn't want to bond with the symbiote. I'm excited to see how this goes. It's honestly been some really compelling storytelling by Ram V. When we get to that space stuff with Eddie Brock, being the King in Black, that loses me a little bit, but I'm all down for this Dylan Brock ride. So Venom number 4 has got a cover price of $3.99 and I'm getting cover A. And that's it. That's my Marvel Comics pull list. So if I just stick to the list and don't buy a ton of variants, we're looking at $26. Not bad. A lot more than my Marvel Comics usually cost me, but still not bad. Next up, let's talk about the DC books on the list this week, because there are several, starting with Detective Comics issue 1049. So again, Detective Comics is a weekly title now, and I don't know if I need a weekly Detective Comics title. I don't think I really need that, but since we got it, since it's here, I'm never going to drop it. And if the incentive to buy it wasn't the story, it's got to be these Lee Bermejo variant covers. I love them. They're definitely bait and switch because Batman is not in these stories. Well, he's in the backup. But, look at that cover, though. Look at the cover and the glowing bat symbol. Just going to move over and let that sit next to my head a little bit more because it's awesome. But yeah. So, Detective Comics 1049 has got a cover price of $4.99. I'm getting cover A. Let's move on to Green Lantern number 10. Green Lantern by Jeffrey Thorne. There's art by several people, Tom Rainey, Marco Santucci, and a few others. But Green Lantern is telling a couple of interesting stories. One is this whole ascension of John Stewart. I almost called him John Lantern, but John Stewart into this almost godlike position in the DC universe. The journey to get there has definitely gone over my head at points, and it's been a little bit too cosmic for me. But John is my favorite Green Lantern, and I'm excited to see him getting some real play and having some real consequential things happen to him. So I'm down for that storyline, but the story that I'm really after is this detective storyline that Joe Mullen's got going on, where she is solving the mystery behind the death of one of the Guardians. And it's a conspiracy unlike anything you've seen before. Really, really good. The artwork is really good for the Joe Mullen pages. Almost called her Joe Lantern. Not to mention this whole thing with the dormant Teen Lantern and the Gauntlet defending her. There's a lot of good stuff going on in this Green Lantern series. I just wish it was, I don't know, there's something not working well in it for me, but all the pieces individually seem to work okay. So it's got a cover price of $4.99 and I'm getting cover A. Next up, from Milestone and DC Comics is Icon and Rocket Season 1, Issue number 5. Now, we've been slowly building toward this climax point in the series where Icon and Rocket are on the wrong side of the government, even if they're not on the wrong side of the law, because they've shut down the drug trade. So the government's after them. We found out last issue that the government has some metahumans on their side that they're trying to sick at Icon and Rocket. So we're building toward this confrontation. Obviously, Icon and Rocket are going to win the day, but how? So I'm excited to see how this goes. And apparently we're getting a guest appearance from Static, at least if this cover is any indication. We are. So I'm definitely excited about that. It's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm getting cover A. And next up from DC Comics is Nightwing, issue number 88. Man, Nightwing is the most exciting book on shelves, in my opinion, my humble opinion, by Tom Taylor, art by Bruno Redondo. Last issue, we had the one continuous image, and we had some really, really fun stuff going on. Basically, Nightwing is just picked right back up where it left off once Dick Grayson got back to Bloodhaven. So I'm excited to see how everyone responds, because Dick is basically a wanted man for trying to help so many people with his financial resources. It's been really dope. So Nightwing 88's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm getting the cover A. And there's one last book on my DC Comics pull list this week. That is Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue number 7. Now, again, from Tom Taylor. This one's got artwork by, who's on the art? Bruce Timms. And it's really good. Bruce Timms? Does that sound right? John Timms. My bad, John. But anyway, the art on this book has been good. The story itself has been really good. So, John Kent is his own person and he's fighting crime a whole different way. There's this evil dictator from some faraway country that's plotting, Henry Bendix, who's plotting against John. Lex Luthor in the annual decided to work with Bendix. So I'm really excited to see how this all goes. We're finally going to get some action in this series after a lot of world building, after a lot of, politically themed story. We're finally getting some action. So I'm excited about that. And the book has been really good. I love the heart of it so far. It's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm getting cover A. And that's it for the DC Comics pull list. Believe it or not, Marvel actually beat my DC total. DC Comics are just going to cost me $22 this week. Now, with a whopping $2 left in the budget, if I did that math right, $3 left in the budget. Let's look and see what we got left and talk about the indie comics that are coming out this week. First up is Excellence, issue number 12. Excellence from Brandon Thomas and Kari Randolph. A really, really great series. One that I stopped reading after issue 6 so that I could wait for the deluxe hardcover to come in the mail from Kickstarter. It's finally here, so I got some catching up to do. But Excellence issue 12, it's been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, but it's finally coming out this Wednesday with a cover price of $3.99. I'm getting cover A. Next up is King Spawn, issue number 6. So out of all the Spawn's universe titles, I've been collecting them mostly for the artwork, but I've been reading Gunslinger Spawn. I read The Scorched number 1 last week. I liked it. It was fun. So I need to get caught up on King Spawn as well. And I'm going to do so. Now, there are 2 covers for this. No disrespect to Jonathan Glapion for cover A, because cover A is dope, but cover B? This cover B, though, Spawn wearing a crown of thorns, It's just interesting. It's a good looking cover. So I'm getting that one. I'm getting cover B. Trevor, you hear me? I'm getting cover B. Let's do it. So King Spawn, issue number 6, got a cover price of $2.99. And how could you not buy it at that price? Next up, from Image Comics is Primordial, issue number 5. Primordial is by Jeff Lemire, Andrea Sorrentino. It's my first Jeff Lemire series. I've never read anything by Jeff Lemire before, and this has been a real treat about these animals trying to find their way home from space. That's all I've got to say about it, but it's got a cover price of $3.99, and I'm getting the cover A. Next up is Seven Secrets, issue number 13. That's right. Seven Secrets is finally back from hiatus. Issue 12 came out ages ago, but issue 13, we're finally back up and running, starting a brand new story arc. If you have not jumped into this series, go ahead, grab the 2 trades. You know you want them. Go ahead and grab them. They're by the best writer in comics. The artwork by Danielle Dinaculo. Awesome. Awesome. It feels like a cartoon show, and it's great. So follow Casper's adventures. I'm still getting caught up because I was told I had to so that one of you guys could win a dope prize. So I'm still getting caught up, but believe me, I'll be caught up by Wednesday so that I can enjoy issue 13 first because I'm really, really excited for it. That's got a cover price of $3.99, and I'm just getting cover A. Next up on the list is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 125. So fun fact, my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection starts with issue number 100. I've been collecting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for, I guess, 2 years straight at this point. There hasn't been any delays. Really not been the most exciting series since issue 100, but thanks to JP from Organic Price Books on Whatnot, I just scored volumes 5 through 13 of the TMNT Deluxe editions at a steal of a price. So I just got to get volume 2, 3, and 4. And my TMNT collection is complete all the way up through issue 100 in Deluxe edition and starting with issue 100 in standard format or, floppies. So I've got a full run of TMNT. I can start back from the beginning. I can enjoy it when it was amazing. I can read it when it was lackluster and hope for the best. And I'm excited about that. And this cover, honestly, is the reason I'm still buying it. Teenage Mutant Punk Frogs just sounds interesting. So sue me. I'm getting the cover A, even though I usually get the Kevin Eastman covers. So I haven't even seen what the Kevin Eastman cover looks like this week. That's got a cover price of $3.99. And the last book on my indie comics pull list is The Walking Dead Deluxe issue 31. Robert Kirkman's Walking Dead. I've been reading it, actually. I've been reading it. I'm not caught up to issue 30. I've read up to issue 6 or so. Really exciting. It's a zombie book. It's a book that I read when I don't want to care about anything. And I just want to read some people getting eaten and stuff. But I know there's a lot of character development and there's a lot to fall in love with in this series, but I'm not reading it for that. It's in color and it's zombies and David Finch does covers. So I'm buying it. It's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm getting cover A. And with that, my indie comics are going to cost me $23 this week. It's a big week for indies too. I usually don't spend that much on indie comic books. So all total, if you're following me, before taxes and before my 10% subscriber discount at Ultimate Comics, I'm looking at a total of $71 for my comics. And that doesn't even include the books that are still on my maybe list because there are a ton of new number ones coming out this week. She-Hulk number 1 is out this week with an Arthur Adams cover that's really dope. Ben Reilly Spider-Man number 1 is out this week, following the adventures of Ben Reilly some point in the past. It's one of those books where an old school creative team gets to come back to their creation and add more to the canon. So it's just forgotten memories from Ben Reilly's past life. Because it's not super important to anything happening right now, I don't know if I'm going to read it, but if you're a Ben Reilly fan, it's probably right up your alley. If you love the Ben Reilly saga in the 90s, then grab it. It's J.M. DeMatteis. So cover price of $3.99. That's cover A on the screen. I don't know if I'm going to buy it. Also coming out this week is Silver Surfer Rebirth number 1. We already talked about it because Ultimate Comics has an exclusive, but this is Ron Lim and Ron Mars returning to Silver Surfer. So again, old school creative teams coming back to their most popular creations or, you know, subjects, if you will. That one's got a cover price of $3.99. And that cover is dope. But if you're not getting the Ultimate Comics exclusive, you're missing out. So go online and get the exclusive cover. And then another number one that caught my eye is Batman the Knight, #1 by Chip Zdarsky. Chip Zdarsky's just a great writer. His Daredevil is awesome. I'm loving his Devil's Reign. It makes me want to see him on Batman. I haven't read his Batman Urban Legend story yet. But he's got this is a 10-issue miniseries he's getting, or maxi series. Unfortunately, I'm just maxed out on Headspace. I can't take another Batman story right now. So I'm going to wait for that one to come out in hardcover or trades, but that's out this week and you should support it. You should definitely support it so that it doesn't get canceled and that I still get the full 10 issues in trade whenever I want it, right? So those are the books on my maybe list. I'm probably not getting any of them, but we'll see. I'm over budget, but if, you know, maybe I'll come into some money. Maybe somebody will, I don't know, buy something or something and I'll have some extra money to play with. And if so, maybe I'll grab one of those #1s. But that's what's on my list this week. What are you grabbing? What are you grabbing that I talked about? What are you grabbing that I didn't talk about? What are you most excited for? If you want to talk comics with me all the time, then you got to go ahead and join the K Squad on Facebook or on Discord. Links are in the description below. And if you want to see a full list of all the comics coming out this week, then visit Comics Are Dope right now. Links in the description. You'll see my full list of recommendations and all the books coming out this week. So super excited about that. Hope you saw something you liked in this video. And if not, hey, that's cool. Because you can always buy what you like. Just make sure you read what you buy. And be nice to others. Because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.